It's Jay from ASMR for Nerds. First, I want to apologize for taking longer to do this video than I would have liked originally. Um, March was a strange month at work. I've been significantly busier. Um, so, on top of work being busy, um, I've had some, personal stuff that's taken me away from this side of what I'm doing, and I had to put it on put it on hold. But I know I've promised before that I'll be making videos with the frequency that I originally promised, which is ideally 2 to 3 per week. But that just wasn't possible in March, so I'm looking to get back to that starting now. So, with that said, Superman and Batman, everybody's talking about it now. Although, it doesn't seem like they're saying very good things. I did not see the movie yet. I'm one of those people who does not like crowded theaters. So I have to wait for a couple of weeks until the crowds die out. So these covers here, I figured I'd start with these. So these covers here are variants that I saw, and I immediately recognized the artist. I've shown him to you guys before. He's one of my favorites. His name is Terry Dodson. He's currently drawing the Princess Leia comic. He just, I think, has a very unique style of especially drawing faces, and he draws very strong features. I really like how he drew Superman. I like how he drew Superman better than the actual artist who's drawing him. In this Batman series I am not reading, but this Superman title I am, so let's start this off by just doing a quick flip through of Batman. Again, I don't know quite what is happening in this series. I've heard mixed reviews of Snyder's Batman run. So the art, just right off the bat, looks pretty, I don't know, standard. Zack Snyder is the writer here. Not Zack Snyder, sorry. Scott Snyder, right? Oh. The writer is, yeah, Scott Snyder. Zack Snyder is the one who made the movie. And he wrote some Superman too. He wrote Superman Unchained, which I think got generally good reviews. Now this is Batman's new look. He's got the Bat logo outlined in yellow, and he's back to the gray and blue. So almost a little like old school style is what they're going for now. And I guess the Joker has some sort of suit now. I have no idea what's going on, like I said. So I'll just stop there because I don't even know what I'm looking at. Oh, also to add, is Terry Dotson's wife. So let's take a flip through here. Now this story, I do know what's going on. So, in the Superman title, Superman is, he lost his powers. That's, that theme is running through all the Superman titles. The Superman, Wonder Woman, Superman Action Comics. And he's been in this conflict with a couple of bad guys. One is Wrath, who made him, who I guess like controls anger. Then I forgot the other guy's name. Jeez, the main guy who's fighting here. He was just introduced about 2 issues ago. But basically, he's like this guy. He's getting powers from this asteroid. And as he's gaining them, Superman is also regaining his powers back. I've not read this particular issue yet, so what this looks like is maybe a flashback to Krypton. Even the art is kind of reminds me of like late 90s Superman art during like the new Krypton phase. Maybe that was mid 2000s, I don't remember. But New Krypton is not a Superman title, I would suggest. This run has been pretty okay. I don't think in a bunch of years it's going to be remembered as a very good run, but it's, I like reading it, but if you're not a Superman fan, I'd say you could skip Superman titles for now, as much as I hate to say that, being that he is my favorite. But unless a Superman title is absolutely terrible, I'll still buy it and read it. So I'm going to stop on this here flash page. Splash page, not flash page. Looks good. Okay. So those were the Superman and Batman number 50s. Another thing you guys might notice is the background. I got rid of the curtain. I got a nice new desk, so I thought, why not use that nice leather thing. So, next we have Superman, American Alien. This has been, I think, the best comic series out now. It's written by Max Landis. He is huge on Superman. He has videos on YouTube. He's a movie director and writer, I think. He went on and on about the death of Superman, how much he thought the story was ridiculous, but he clearly loves Superman and has very strong opinions on him and the writers and the stories they've given him. So Max Landis did movies like Chronicle and American Ultra. He was also, me and my friends got together and watched WrestleMania this weekend. None of us are huge fans, but it's just the thing we do. It's like stupid fun. And we saw Max Landis sitting on the sidelines, right front row, and he tweeted something interesting and made me think about wrestling slightly different, maybe for a second. He said WrestleMania is like Comic-Con, except the superheroes are actually there. So, interesting take on wrestling. Anyway, so he's writing this Superman title, and you could just see, you could feel as you read it, the affection he has for this character. And it feels like every single issue has just gotten better and better until issue number 4. Which I might consider one of the best comic issues I've ever read, is Superman American Alien number 4. Now, this is issue number 5, and this one was really great too. So far, they've all been great. Like I said, number 4 was just amazing. So in this issue, I did read it. I'm not going to give you too much because I think once this series is done, I believe it's a 7 or 8 issue miniseries, I'm definitely going to do a read through of it with you guys, because I know Superman gets a lot of he doesn't get as much attention and love as Batman, and like I've said before, it's probably because he's not as dark and brooding, but I think a lot of writers have had challenges writing Superman because of his abilities, and now it's hard to write about a character that is basically infallible. However, Max Landis understands the character so well, and the character's potential for vulnerability and growth and depth, and these stories just show that. It's like a labor of love from a true Superman fan. So I would highly recommend this one, not just to comic book fans, but everybody. It's great. Okay, so putting those aside, I'm going to start bagging and boarding these next issues. Actually, you know what? I'll bag and board the ones we just looked at. These variants, I actually bought a couple versions each because of how much I love Terry Dodds, and I was thinking of framing them, the Batman and Superman ones, side by side. I want to do that now. Will I actually do it? Who knows? There's so many things I want to do. I know that doesn't seem like a significant task, but I don't have enough wall space to put up everything I want to do. So So now we're just gonna get into the rest of the books that I picked up in no particular order. Now, of course, I haven't done a comic shop video in quite some time. So some of these issues have been out for a month or maybe even a little more, but some of these issues are from this week, some from last week, some from the week before. I'm kind of compiling, I guess, the things I think are most interesting of the books that I pulled since my last comic shop video. So I think the last one was number 10. Okay, so this is Daredevil number 4. I do get a lot of requests to do Daredevil videos. I've already done one on the Mark Waid series, it's too bad because going into 2015, he was kind of up there with Superman as one of my favorites. And he took a plunge. The show that came out, I was not a fan of. I don't like the guy who was playing him. I don't like the overly dark, kind of joyless tone. I thought Mark Waid's Daredevil has a nice balance between the depressing aspects of Daredevil, but also the optimistic and almost playful side. And they totally did a 180 with this new series, written by Charles Soule. We'll open it up and take a look, but I think you'll see what I'm talking about, especially if you watched my Mark Waid and Chris Samnee Daredevil video, where I went through that series. This one is about the opposite. I mean, Charles Soule is a competent writer, but I've never read anything from him that was anything but mediocre. I was very surprised that they were giving Daredevil to him. So far, the story is just a very generic vigilante story. Vigilante with a, sidekick versus a criminal underworld. But the character is not really being explored in the same way that he was last time. In the last run that just ended recently. And as you could just see, although it's very stylized and the art itself is pretty good, it's just the colors. I understand what they're going for, like a limited palette, but it's just, to me, it's so just lifeless. It just doesn't do it for me. And the story itself is okay, but what a disappointment this has been. So that was Daredevil number 4. Like I said, I know a lot of you guys are Daredevil fans, and he has picked up his popularity, so, you might feel differently. I know some other guys out there doing ASMR videos with comics have talked about it and love it, and it does get pretty good reviews. Not quite as good as the last run. It's not a bad comic. However, it's not a great one either. Speaking of great comics, Ms. Marvel, this has been a great comic. It's a little different, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to everybody, but I would recommend it to people who kind of like more indie style comics. The character is Kamala Khan. I've been through this before. If you've seen my other videos, every other one will have a Ms. Marvel one, because this is a title I've been picking up for almost 2 years now. So Kamala Khan is Ms. Marvel. In her personal life, she's dealing with the traditions of her parents and her family, while trying to balance being a superhero and like a modern teenager, while also now being part of the Avengers. So with all of these factors, she found a way. She wanted to have like 2 or 3 clones to like go to school for her and do family stuff, but that kind of went wrong. As you can see, there's like thousands of her. So that plan kind of backfired. writing in this is just done so well. You kind of really feel like you're reading through the life of if there would be a superhero teenager. Kind of like, it almost reminds me of a modern spin on the old school Spider-Mans, where a lot of Spider-Man stories were revolving around Peter Parker and him balancing the difficulties of teenage life and all that. So, that was Miss Marvel number 5. So I don't know if you guys are fans, but and I can't believe it's here already, but baseball season is back. And I could not be happier as a Met fan to start over after the World Series last year, although it was fun to watch. A bit heartbreaking. But to those of you who are baseball fans, we're back. Okay, so this title is called Huck. I know it says Huckbusters, but that's just the thing Mark Millar has been doing with his titles, doing like movie poster things. But this book is just called Huck. Mark Millar, Raphael Albuquerque. So this title is kind of like, to me it feels very much like a Superman, like an alternate universe Superman. This character, Huck, was just like basically invulnerable and super strong. He couldn't fly and do all the things Superman can, but he could leap really far and basically just be indestructible and super strong. So he had a modest like farm upbringing, and all he wanted to do was help people, and he was trying to keep his powers a secret while also just helping people. It's implied that he's kind of slow maybe, or just simple in his mind, but that could just be because he's humble. I don't know if he's actually stupid, but he does. At one point, this guy shows up at his door, telling him he's his brother and that he could go find his mom. So naively, he goes with him, and basically, long story short, he ends up being trapped by this guy here who set it up, and that guy ended up not being his brother. Now, this issue, I'm going to read the ending to you because I thought it was great. So Huck's mom herself has powers, although it's a different set of powers. And we will look at that in a second. So, see, this is the guy who tricked Huck into going to find his mom. So, here Huck is trapped behind this indestructible glass. And the guy who was posing as his brother is watching him. And his mom feels bad that, she was trying to hide from him to protect him from these people that were trying to get her. See, she says, I made a promise when you were growing inside me that I wouldn't let you be born in this room. Now I'm back exactly like before. Except you're locked up and trapped with me too. I'm sorry for letting you down, Huck. I've made such a mess of things. So, Huck hearing that, of course, going to feel bad and compassionate. So, Huck's mom's power is basically that of manipulating, I guess, people, but also situations. So he says here, I'm gonna find a way out of here. And she says, how? And he says, you can make people do anything, right? Yes. Tell me to break the wall. And simply because she wills it, he is able to do it. So now, I think this is going to be interesting to see where he goes, because here is where Huck kind of first is shown to be angry, and it'll be interesting to see how he handles this anger. So I'm looking forward to the next issue. This is one of those books that does not have a ton of dialogue, but I think has a great story. And to anyone who might be interested in independent comics, this is an Image title, and this would be a great one. It's easy to read, and he's an easy character to get behind, I think. Especially if you like Superman and just pure good guys. Oh boy. Here we go. The Infinity Entity. And this is written by Jim Starlin, one of my favorites. I have read through with you guys the Infinity Gauntlet series, which this is, very loosely tied to. There's a lot going on in this issue. There's a lot going on in this series, so I'm going to read to you. This is issue number 2, so I'm going to read to you a little bit about it. Jim Starlin is not really in the Marvel mainstream anymore. He kind of has his own side universe where he plays with kind of strange cosmic ideas dealing with Adam Warlock and Thanos. So here it says, Adam Warlock was created by Earth scientists as an artificial perfect human. For some time, he explored the cosmos, occasionally allying himself with heroes such as the Infinity Watch and the Guardians of the Galaxy. He had a dark side, however, and eventually, in order to prevent his evil self, the Magus, from permanently taking over, he convinced Star-Lord to kill him. Recently, the Adam Warlock of an alternate reality was reborn in this reality with the help of Thanos, who has been both an ally and an enemy to Adam over the years. This alternate reality Adam was reborn with vast power and knowledge, as he contained the energy of his former reality within him, but he did not realize the full extent of his new powers. Most recently, he assisted Thanos and the Guardians of the Galaxy in their attempt to thwart Annihilus from taking over the universe, but Annihilus banished Thanos to an empty void. The severely wounded Guardians were forced to retreat, and Warlock was taken prisoner until he found himself floating in unfamiliar space, lacking memories and desperate for answers. So, there's a lot of strange stuff going on in this. I'm now up to issue 3, which I think has been the best issue so far. Basically, in this issue here, Adam Warlock is kind of flying around space trying to find where he came from, his purpose, and trying to realize the full potential of his powers. because since coming back, it turns out that Adam Warlock and Thanos in the story before this, they basically switched spaces, or the Adam Warlock from this actuality was killed or sent back. I don't remember, but the Adam Warlock from another parallel world or universe came to this current universe, and apparently when he did that, it turns out that not only did he move himself to our actuality, but he brought along all of the energy and of all of the energy of existence within him to this actuality. So although it sounds a little crazy, I mean, this is Jim Starlin, this is what he does. So Adam Warlock is basically an inconceivable power, and he's just trying to find this out in this particular issue. And here, at the end, he's found to be just in between realities, basically. And then he is confronted by all of the cosmic beings who see him as a threat to this reality. So, if you guys like really big, epic kind of stories that have to do with space and parallel universes, time travel, all that crazy stuff, you should check out Jim Starlin's stuff now. Also, look at that cover. Got like a corpse Galactus. That's cool. Okay, next is an event title. So, this book, I normally have been staying away from event titles since the original Sin event last year. I did do Secret Wars, which was great, but like the smaller events I've been staying away from, like Axis, and there are a couple more, but I thought I'd give this one a try. Because it did not seem too daunting, but I'm a couple issues in. There's only one standoff issue itself. But there's a lot of tie-ins, and I've been reading a couple of those, and so far so good. Basically what it is Maria Hill of S.H.I.E.L.D. has basically found a way, or the engineers at S.H.I.E.L.D. have found a way to alter time and space. So that they could change, what has happened, and they've been doing that using shards of the cosmic cube. And eventually, there's a lot more explanation, but what she decided to do with that, and what S.H.I.E.L.D. decided to do with that, or like a rogue part of S.H.I.E.L.D., because the idea was shot down, and they were told to destroy the cosmic cubes. What they did was create a town called Pleasantdale, which is basically like a prison, but they kind of wipe the memories and kind of have bad guys start over and live in Pleasant Hill as like a rehabilitation, but they don't know they used to be super villains. But there's this underground group of people who have caught on, and they are planning on turning the whole thing that said, so, um, you know, kind of a story that's been kind of done before in other forms of media, but, Nick Spencer was currently writing Ant-Man, and, all new, all different Captain America with Sam Wilson. Or actually, I think that title now is just called Sam Wilson, Captain America. Okay, next. I think I've shown you guys this before. This series is called Low by Rick Remender. This series focuses a lot on optimism and pessimism. It's about the future where it's funny, they reveal in this issue that Earth was not destroyed by humans as initially assumed, but it was destroyed by the sun, which became too irradiated. They said that humans actually figured out climate change and fixed it, but the sun just sporadically, I don't know, expanded or something, making the surface of Earth uninhabitable, or so they thought. So humans went underwater to live there, and all this whole universe underwater opened up of different communities and stuff. But what's going on in the story is this woman who lost her husband has tried to gather her kids from the underwater settlements. Some of them were like prostitutes. And then they eventually get to the surface where they think there is a homing beacon that has finally found another planet that could be inhabited by humans. But as they get to the surface, they see that there are like mouse people and insect people. And it's revealed that Earth just kind of went on without humans, which is a bit shocking to them. Our absence wasn't felt. Life continued on, as if we've never been. So, another one that I would recommend to anyone who's looking for strong female characters, just like an indie kind of vibe to it. The way they go about the art and the storytelling is not very Marvel or DC. It's got its own sort of feel. Next. Is Superman, Lois, and Clark. Now, I wasn't quite sure where they were going with this because currently in the DC universe, there is Superman in Action Comics, which follows the adventures of the actual Superman. But post-Convergence, which was Convergence was an event that happened in the fall of this year. There's another Superman and Lois Lane that are on Earth from another universe. And they're just trying to hide and not make too much noise, but Lois can't help but be like a reporter, and Clark can't help but be Superman. So, and they do have a son who's starting to actualize his own powers, Superman-like powers. So, what's been going on in this storyline kind of seems, it's good. I like it. It's written by Dan Jurgens, who's a classic Superman writer. when I say classic, I mean like early 90s. He was one of the main writers of the Death of Superman story. Um, but what I've learned recently is the Superman title that is coming along, they're basically doing a reboot, but it's not quite a reboot. They're actually continuing the numbering from the last Superman series, so it's like around 600 something. And they're, this particular Superman, the one in hiding, like the more, I guess, old-fashioned version, is going to take over as the main Superman. Now, I don't know if that means they're going to kill off the current Superman. I don't know. It should be interesting, but that's what is coming down the pipelines for Superman. I have a feeling they're going to go, they've tried all these different things with him in the past couple of years with the new 52, making him a younger version, or, having him lose his powers or gain strange new powers. All these things they've been experimenting with, and I don't think any of them quite took off. And, my personal feelings on it are that Superman doesn't need all of these gimmicks in the story. I think he's a great character if you focus on these certain things that make him great. And I think Dan Jurgens understands that to an extent. He's not my favorite writer, but I do like his Supermans. So next is Hawkeye. What's going on here is Kate Bishop, who is the female Hawkeye from the new Avengers, the Young Avengers, sorry. She is, there's a flashback here of her learning about her dad is sort of a criminal. It kind of explores why Kate is such a tough girl. They gave Clint, Hawkeye, the same treatment in the beginning of this series, showing how he became Hawkeye pretty much. I'm not going to go through that, but if you want to see that, check out Jeff Lemire's All New, All Different Hawkeye, which this is it, but you can check out the number 1 of the volume before this current run. They stuck with the same artist from the Matt Fraction Hawkeye. I think that was a good idea, because although there's a shift in tone of the comic, I still like it. But they kind of kept the art consistent, so that's cool. So it's just a quick flip through. Next, we got a lot of Superman today. DC has been putting out a lot of variants by Neil Adams, and so what they did here was just give him a title. Neil Adams is drawing and writing this title. And I've only read issue 1, but I liked it. Very old school. Very, it feels like, I don't know, 80s Superman. Just like kind of a crazy adventure of fighting just a whoever bad guy. And, I don't know, that's just what it feels like. It just feels like DC is trying to backtrack a bit and make the Superman character kind of reimagine his roots. So I think that's part of why this series exists, as they make the shift from the current t-shirt wearing Superman to your classic Superman. Now I'm excited to see what DC does with that, because generally I've just not been thrilled with everything past the post New 52, just not loving it. So next, this is an issue that I really liked. Mockingbird #1. Don't let the cover deceive you. It looks like almost like a James Bond kind of action book, but it is very much something different than that. Let me just read you the first page, maybe give you a feel. Shield Medical Clinic. 10 stories below Chelsea Market, New York City. I am a good person. I eat pretty well. I work out. I go to bookstores. I save people for a living. I have better things to do than get hauled in for a medical checkup every week. Have I complained the last few months? Constantly. Was I a good patient? No. What can I say when your primary care provider is a shadowy government agency? You have to be your own medical advocate. Join Shield, they said. Great health benefits, low co-pays. Crack. Did we have an appointment? Why are you wearing a scuba suit? I'm not here for you. Look, I'm just a researcher. I'm not even on staff at this clinic. Whatever's on the other side of that mirror has nothing to do with me. Whoosh. It's a ping pong ball. By the way, everything you're about to learn is personal and confidential medical information. I'm done with Western medicine. Let me back up. So, it's kind of, so far the issue #1 is all I've read, but it's kind of all over the place, but on purpose. But it's been really good. This issue, at least. I've been intrigued by it, and very curious as to where they're gonna go, playing with her psychic abilities, and I guess they're trying to figure out what exactly her powers are. And then, just like in Ghostbusters, if you remember, they're doing the thing to see if she has telepathy. So, it's hard to explain exactly what this book is about yet, because I'm not entirely sure. There's even, at the end of the issue, a blurb from the writer saying, I know this didn't make entirely a lot of sense, but it will come together. A lot of books do that sort of thing, and it doesn't come together, or it's too confusing, but so far it's done well. I would recommend that book for sure. Next is Eternal Warrior #5. This is a Valiant book. And this has been one of my favorite books out. Here, this is a quick blurb. Gilad Anibada is is the Eternal Warrior, an immortal possessing an unparalleled understanding of combat tactics and weaponry. He has amassed an extraordinary wealth of knowledge over the past 6,000 years. Tasked with protecting the enigmatic mystics known as the Geomancers, he has died many times in such service. But what happens next? So, Gilad, this guy, is basically the weapon of the earth against this constant threat. So basically Earth keeps bringing him back from the dead at different points in time. And he has different wives and stuff. And they're kind of exploring that, like how it is to be him and, be eternal and immortal, although he's not quite immortal. He does die in battle, but he keeps getting resurrected because he is the Eternal Warrior of Earth. So he'll be married, and he eventually has kids with this one woman, and that's what they're looking at now. There's also a thing that's going on where every time he dies, he goes to be with, I guess in heaven or the afterlife, he goes to be with his family. But he always has to leave to go back to Earth. What is this? This looks like an event. 4001 AD. I guess a future event in the Valiant universe. Sounds good. Valiant's been doing great lately. A lot of their titles have been really good. Specifically, Eternal Warrior, The Wrath of the Eternal Warrior, Bloodshot Reborn, and Divinity, which is coming back. And they have some pretty legitimate writers on these. They have Matt Kint doing Divinity, and I believe Ninjak, and Jeff Lemire doing Bloodshot. Okay, so this is one I wanted to really take a look at with you guys. This is Black Widow #1. Now, if you recognize here these names, because I talk about them all the time. Mark Waid, Chris Samnee, that is the team that was doing Daredevil before the current Daredevil run. The Daredevil run that I read through with you guys in, I think, my third or fourth video. My favorite, or one of my favorite comic book runs of all time. They are now off Daredevil, and they have been put on together Black Widow, which I think is an interesting choice. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet, so let's take a flip through. That was just a variant. Okay. So this issue, first issue, kind of seems to set the tone of it being an action sort of book. There is almost no dialogue. It's basically Black Widow escaping. It's basically a big chase. Interesting, look. Under writers, it says Chris Samnee and Mark Waid. And the art is by Chris Samnee. Interesting. So, see, it's just a lot of action sequences. Probably, I'm assuming this first issue, they're setting that up just to show what Black Widow is about, basically, or at least physically, basically showcasing her skill set. And I imagine they'll get into the character's kind of darker, sadder, past, as Mark Waid tends to do. So, I would definitely expect that to come. There's some violence here. See, the page ends like that. Or the book ends like this. So, although not much happened in this one, I have a feeling it's going to take on a whole different feel coming up. If I know Mark Waid, and I think I do. That character will be explored. So, if any of you read it, hoping for a Daredevil-like book, just keep in mind, Daredevil issue 1 that Mark Waid did was basically him infiltrating a mob wedding and kissing the bride. So, and last, what I'm going to show you guys is just real quick something I picked up. And this is just Secret Wars #1 Alex Ross cover, but it is signed by Jonathan Hickman. This is my first Jonathan Hickman signed book, and I have a certificate here. So that was exciting. They had it for like $19 certified, so I thought I can't lose with this, especially considering that Secret Wars was very good. I'm very happy to have this. Although I know signatures don't usually, unless it's like Stanley or something, usually don't increase the price of a book. In fact, often a signature can lower the price of a book, strangely. So, I don't care. I don't collect signatures to sell. I just like to have the signature of, I like to have my favorite issues signed by my favorite artists and writers for my own collection. So, that's it for today, guys. I know it wasn't a lot considering how much time went by. I have bought books every week, and if I went through all those, we'd be here for like 4 hours. So, I'll do some catch-ups on maybe the books that I think are the best. And like I said, there will be more videos coming down the line. So, I am back, I promise. And thanks for sticking around. I look at the analytics and see you guys are still coming to watch the videos. So, I feel like there's a good number of them for you guys to watch when I'm gone for a little bit. But I'll continue adding new ones. And that's about it. So I will see you guys real soon.